No, I know. I see you. We're not gonna worry about the rest of them because that's that's where we go wrong, right? The issue is that you realize that you know, you know before everybody else, and it does you no good to know if the other people don't know, because inadvertently they'll just be weaponized in the process, right? But you're going through a time right now because you're at a fork in the road, you're at a crossroads, because every major setback in your life has been for attempting to help people who have no clue. So the opening on this one is, didn't the United States build its independence once before? Right? Because back then, y'all were trying to escape the crown, and you drug America into that, just like all the other conflicts that came after for entertainment purposes, right? Because this is only gonna reach 25 to 60 people, because it's only 25 to 60 of y'all right now that appreciate within a certain circumference, right? Did they win? Did the United States actually win any of them, or was it all an illusion? Because in 2026, the invisible crown is the systems that think they can see you. Let me say that again and slow it down and put the comma for emphasis. Because in 2026, the invisible crown is the systems that think they can see you. Now, look, when you're studying Greek mythology and analogies in third grade and you're trying to talk to other third graders, let's just say I've had a lot of people wanting me to be quiet for most of my life. That's nothing new. And you know who those people really are? You already know who they are. They're the ones that feel pressure from conversation, from dialogue, from anything that doesn't make them laugh so they can get the next hit of morphine like chemical from the brain. But you've been going through this too, right? You can't have a serious conversation with anybody because the truth is too traumatic for those individuals, right? So you have to look for the right people. Now, when you scale that up to wanting to build businesses, or who you pick to do marketing and branding with, or who you pick to work on a project with, it gets even more challenging because that's an investment not just in like, hey, are you going to be my friend next month? You're trying to build an infrastructure. And the problem is, even with great screening, every HR department knows this. Even with great screening, you may find out that relationships don't work down the road. You may find out that, hey, you're not really dealing with someone who has imposter syndrome. You're really dealing with an imposter, right? And that's okay, because people that's watched me for a long time and built with me know I'd be like, look, you don't kill every snake. See, because you were taught, oh, get all the snakes. Many people were taught to get all the snakes out they can't. But if you do that, right, if you leave a couple, they'll always introduce you. They'll always point out the new snakes that might drift in. You're literally protected by Viper at that point, for those who remember what Viper was. Because if I can't trust you, if you can't trust them with their word on a $15,000 annual bonus, how are you supposed to be putting yourselves in position together to make 15 million? And it's not even about the actual fiat currency. It's about the impact on the nation, which we're going to get here in a moment. And the reason I'm starting off like this is because for those who remember, they know I'm the one that put this video out. What did it say? 2 years ago. 30 views. Like I said, that's cool. It's going to be 25 to 60 of y'all. That's all I need. That's all we need is 25 to 60 people, and we could change the whole nation. But the one on the left here was the video on North Carolina freedom rankings drops to the lowest in decades. The one to the right on YNet 7, as you can see here, was the video I did 3 years ago. Solid 35 views, right? Because those are the 35 people that actually know what to do with the information. I don't want 20,000 people to watch it and we don't change shit. And what's going on with the Cosmos, I don't know if you want to say Cosmos alignment or the timing on the calendar, is the people around you that ain't in alignment, they're finding any and every reason to be apart, because they can't, the frequency to them is we're elevating frequency. So if they were getting cooked before, they're definitely getting cooked now. But the video on the right is on social credit score, right? Dissecting what was going on in China as a pretense, because it was all United States corporations mostly that was the technology source used in China for their social credit score, right? As a precursor, tell them this is what we're going to have to deal with. Many of you were in the same boat, sharing this information with the people you care about because, well, you wanted to help them, right? But it's not about the song that says don't save her, she don't want to be saved, because the conflict with us is that we really can't save ourselves without saving them, right? In the sense that, well, let's move on with the conversation. Let's look at it. The reason I brought those two up about the freedom rankings falling to the lowest in decades in North Carolina with the social credit scores, because some of y'all may have seen this recently. New license plate cameras will soon track phones. Now hold on. Think about this before. Let me skip ahead right here a little bit. In the past, the license plate reader, it made sense that it could read the plate. You know what I mean? They got ingenious with it. They started coming up with the little plate covers. Oh, hold on, let me get it so you can see it. They started coming up with the little plate covers, right? That make it so you can see it this way, but at certain angles you couldn't see it. They had the tinted plate covers. They had the little switches that flip the plate over, like all that stuff, because you could see the plate. You could tell what make and model the car was. It was basically a camera, whether it was still picture or video. And you got color, time, and location, right? So the license plate, let me make sure I got y'all on view here. Yeah. So the license plate cameras, right, will soon, and let me know if you already know about this in the chat. Drop what you think about it. But the license plate cameras will soon track phones, wearables, infotainment, even your pet chips, right? So phones, Bluetooth devices, smartwatches, vehicle infotainment systems, RFID signals. And I remember going to Firestone talking to the people like 10 years ago, and they were already saying that the tires were coming with RFID chips in them, in your tire, right? So the police technically could ride by with the right signal strength, and they could tell where your tires are within that distance. Your pet trackers. Now, right here, what I have on this last dot from the research is that basically, think about Amazon Sidewalk, the internet of all things. Once you cross into this stuff here, phones, Bluetooth, smartwatches, the vehicle infotainment, RFID signals, the pet. Now, the thing is, all of those things talk to other networks, other systems. Your cell phone know your home Wi-Fi. It may know your work Wi-Fi. Your cell phone connect to your car when you want to play your Apple Play or whatever. I don't know how it works. I don't even fuck with Apple, but I know you could go in and put your Android on your car, right? Play a song, play a YouTube video, come through the speakers, right? Now, the thing is, over here, it doesn't just mean yours. Because see, it means humans, devices. That's going to connect the whole habitat, and all the relationships is actually traveling together. Because you may not be in the car. Let's say you got a spouse. You may not even be in the car, but because your spouse was just with you or has a history per the whole tracking of the phone data, right? Because your phone know where you've been at the last how long. And as soon as that camera hit it, how much of that is it going to be able to access? Oh, well, it depends on how quick they get the Wi-Fi up. The 5G. Right? So y'all talking about all this data center stuff and you don't know why. For entertainment purposes. I can't confirm or deny, but we know there's a lot of data they already have. They already need a place to put it. If you thought what they had before was a lot. Now, just imagine someone outside of you knowing every step your son or daughter takes from birth to death. Right now, you're worried about if your Netflix channel gets hacked or somebody gets your account and using your Netflix password next door. What are you gonna do when it really is you? See, I just been, it's been a lot of signs lately, and a lot more than normal. I had someone call me yesterday out the blue from 12 years ago plus. Right? Hey, look, let me. This is why the mind we gotta work together and get the mindset right, man. They called me like, let me tell you how funny it was. Little sidebar. They called me. They like they sent me a text saying Happy Father's Day or some shit, right? So me being me, everybody know me know in that case what I'm gonna hit you back with. I don't celebrate holidays, birthdays, all that shit, right? So when they called me, I was like, yeah, man, what the fuck? Why would you even? Because they were, people always try to tell you, you know who you are when people always try to tell you what's wrong with you, right? Like what you should have done. They're like, man, I don't celebrate that shit either. Now, I'm not trying to be a full-time Perry Mason, but let me tell you why fake people don't stay around Pasha long. Because my first thing was like, well, if you knew you don't celebrate it, and you say you know me and you know I don't celebrate it, you said you know I don't celebrate it, why the fuck would you start off the conversation with Happy Father's Day? And they were like, oh, man, I was just wanting to say what's up. Well, then start off with what's up. Because now your whole pretense was imposter. Right? If you want to say what's up, say what's up. Well, you could have just been like, no. We didn't need to just be like nothing. Because you just checked off all the boxes that you knew you fucked up before you did it. Like, and I'm not even saying it was an angry thing. It was just like, don't question me on my response when you had the opportunity to avoid the whole thing, right? And this is what's going on with why we need to build, why you see me so focused on building America. And you hear me very clearly say as an alternative to the United States. But let me go back. Because you're also talking to the person that put out the video. North Carolina, personal freedoms dropping to lowest point in decades. Social credit system scores. You know what I mean? Like, this is not new for me. I've been watching this. And, I said I've been just like, every major fall you took in your life was standing up for people who can't wait to turn on you for something. They talk about feelings. They talking about feelings, y'all. The founders, right? I'm not even saying who the founders was talking about, because we American. But the founders never envisioned a society where every movement became data. Every relationship was metadata. Every object became a sensor. See, y'all don't understand. Y'all do, right? And today. But I'm baffled, because this is what Pasha's fighting for. This is what create the unmistakable you is all about. Surveillance state, or whatever metaphor, analogy you want to use to pacify the people around you, was never what America signed up to be. Right? But these United States citizen feelings, see, that traffic camera it's gonna know, but it ain't gonna tell if you American or United States citizen. See, that means we all got to deal with this shit, because when we speak up, we got fools telling us we should be quiet. And I've been sitting here, I've been looking at this Lexus Nexus. And it's not that I can't move forward with it. It's just like, do those people even deserve it at this point in time? Look at what they've done. Because, not to say like, oh, I'm some savior or something. That's one element. That's one element. And you know, I've been like this my whole life. I could take down one element. You know, I realized the impact. I realized this would be huge precedents. I realized, you know, Pasha Paro name or the juridical person Byron, like the Medea movie, could go be published somewhere in history books until they erase it. But what about the 15,000 other elements we got to deal with? That's the part. Because remember, I'm the one that gave you these videos 3, 4, 5 years ago. I'm the one that said this is what we need to do before this happens. Look at this. This is what's going on. And every single time, because we outnumbered. We not out strategized. We not out thought. The fiat currency ain't real. So we not out accessible. How you get it, you know, I'm just saying we not out accessible. We just not organized. And you know, I'm the one to do it, but it's really an issue when you find out, you know, 6 months into it that 8 months, a year into it, that you're not doing it with the right people. And when you look at like an employment type job situation, it's like, yeah, you have people today and you move on. But that would be normal life. That would be cool if when we started talking about this 20 years ago, we were going through this stuff then. We don't got the time to be investing in people who at the end of the day, they don't care about nothing more than themselves. And what I mean by that is, like, if you a parent that's not in your son or daughter's life physically for whatever reason, don't let society put your head down, because your program may have been like me. We're supposed to be out here changing the world that we leave behind to them, while the home people, the homebodies, the men and the women take care of the households. See, you might not be just a regular man or woman. What I mean is, you've heard me say before, there's levels to it. Men and women, they maintain the household. King and queen maintain the kingdom level. And then little God, God and goddesses, create the universe. We did the video before recently that showed you the word system means universe. So let's look at this, right? Because it used to be, back in the Fourth Amendment day, if the government wanted to monitor someone, it was expensive. It needed human eyes, ears. You sing that song, right? Memory, transportation, and record keeping. The information existed back in the 1700s. It was just difficult to collect. It was difficult to sort. Then when you needed some of it, it was difficult to search. And all the great library fires proved it was difficult to retain. That difficulty protected our freedom. Because at that time, the government, your United States, lacked capability. But now, introducing forever tracking from birth to, what does that say? From cradle to grave, right? What I mean is, the Constitution was written in a time period where they assumed to observe more people, you needed more manpower. To store more information, you needed more paper. To remember more details, you needed more clerks. It was the natural cost that was the safeguard. If you look at United States versus Jones, 2012, it was a landmark case. You could put this right in Google yourself. United States v. Jones, 2012, was a landmark United States Supreme Court case in which the court held that installing a global positioning system tracking device on a vehicle and using the device to monitor the vehicle's movements constitutes a search under the Fourth Amendment. Carpenter versus United States in 2018, the Supreme Court reversed that case, holding that the acquisition of Carpenter's cell site records was a Fourth Amendment search. See, I know a lot of people talk shit about Pasha. I don't care, because I know what I'm fighting for. They talking about their feelings. I put people in position to fight for you, to have you represented in what we know is a clouded illusion of, they didn't turn on me, they turned on America. So in Carpenter versus United States, Chief Justice Roberts wrote that cell phone location data provides an intimate window into a person's life because it reveals movements, associations, habits over a long period of time. Now, certain mindsets, they've been moving a certain way for a long time because we had to. I got to the point, to be honest with you, where once I started, winning like court cases and other stuff, things started happening different in my life. Like, you be at the volunteer slavery is what I call a job. And let's say you're getting your new healthcare thing. I would get the phone call out the blue. Hey, is such and such your daughter? Yeah. You know, after you verify who they are, why they call, or whatever. Okay, that's all we needed to do. Verify, confirm to boom. You talk to HR, like, don't they normally call y'all and to do? Yeah, they normally do that with us, but for some reason they needed to talk to you. Like, things start happening different. So at a certain point, you realize, hey, you've already won right to travel cases where people don't even know what that is. I already know I'm on all these lists. That's why the police stopped pulling me over in Delaware. I haven't been pulled over in over a decade. But the point is, I stopped caring about moving different because my logic became they already know who I am. There's no what's the point in wasting the effort? So once I got that freedom in my mind, right? This stuff didn't matter no more. But the real problem isn't the government. Because we know that would be a whole ordeal if they were like clearly the ones doing this, right? It would be, but how many of y'all would actually say something? Or would you just watch the Pasha Paros stand up and try something new? So I've won court cases on this side of the fence. I haven't, it's a different arena when you go into commercial law. It doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm talking about. It means that I'm learning what's the difference in moving through this system versus what I know how to move through that system. And I've never been the one to not go do it myself. The first time you rode a bike, I think many of us fell. I know some of y'all put y'all training wheels on. The rest of us crashed into some shit a couple times. I don't mind that part. I know why I'm saying what I'm saying. They know why I'm saying what I'm saying. What they counting on is that I ain't find the right switch yet. At that point in time. Because again, it does me no good to be the only one who can think. Because then after me, what? And I'm not saying I'm the only one. What I'm saying is, for the people like me, that's all spread out. Let's say there's only 36 of us on the whole nation. Because everybody else wants to be accepted in some way, shape, or form. They've been corrupted by normative social influence in at least some way. Maybe it's 5,000 of us, whatever it is. Maybe it's 10 million. What I'm saying is, for those people, see, the magic is in between us. There's 50,000 people saying, no, don't go that way. Don't go that way. And it's like, we're like plutonium or uranium. Everything that's ever taken place started with a critical mass. Even that shit they told you was the Big Bang. Because once you collect enough, now you can cause a chain reaction. But as long as you divide it, like the atomic bomb on the WW, you know, it's safe to carry in the airplane before you drop it. But once you bring enough of the mass together, and that's why you got the imposters around you. You know, I'm almost to the point where some people, like NPCs, may actually be like federal employees. Like, what if like 80% of the people you knew around you all secretly worked for the government, but they didn't know that each other worked for the government, and you were living like a real Truman Show? That's just entertainment, though. Look, the real problem isn't the government, because the proxy war, the battlefield, because it's the proxy, right? You guys know warfare over in the Middle East, and you've been watching this, right? The way they're doing this shit. The proxy is, oh, well, it's not the government doing it, it's the banks, the algorithms, the social media, the insurance companies, the universities, the employers, government agencies, search engines, AI systems, the healthcare system. But it's not your government. It's not the United States. They would never do this to you. That way it's easier to say something wrong with Pasha. Because all of them are deciding what you are. And what I'm saying and been saying and told Judge Tessa Sellers is, I don't care what form you got. I'm telling you who I am. And it's not on no, oh, I'm this, you know, whatever you want to say, where you want to say something negative about people who would think that that's the right thing to say. It's the fact that they never asked you. You didn't fill out your LLC form with a terms and conditions statement like you got with your credit card that says, hey, look, you can't. And even if it did, if you signed it with rights reserved, you're free to go back and revisit the terms and conditions that may not have been clear. The contract is never closed, it's open. See, I know what I know, but we're going to keep it to this. But I'm just showing you how it's all connected. Because the same infrastructure that supports your family photos, you know what I mean, on the cloud, on your PlayStation, the power in the AI assistants, the chat box on the websites, enabling your telemedicine. It also stores behavioral data, and it's going to be able to support the large scale surveillance capabilities. And this is where it ties into LexisNexis versus Travis Hahn, because I like to just get the omnipresence of it all, right? Because a credit score becomes a file. A social profile has the word file in it. The algorithmic profile, again, your court document becomes a file. and a little bit of wisdom for me. I'm even good with where it went because if I work with 27 people, I meet 27 people this month, and I'm talking to them about past clients. And I got a client that I did 49%, broke records in their company. And I don't want to talk about them. It's going to be like, well, why? So I don't have to tell them why because there's a public document that tells it all for them in their own words. See, it only costs $200 for the public record. Now I can send a future client, hey, look, this is what we did. We did. I took that company to 300x, 300 times what they industry did, and here's a link to the court case I had to get them because they tried to. It wasn't how they were with the bonus, so I stopped the program, and then they ran. Right? But my thing is, I'm cool with that too. Right? I'm cool with that. Because again, if I can't trust you with 15,000, how I'm gonna build in that case waste management, the green truck. But they may not be green everywhere, but waste management. They did like $2.6 billion in revenue. If I can't trust you with 15,000, why am I even thinking about building you up to $1 billion opportunity? I need to put somebody else in that position. So the Most High was like, look, because we making room for the right people because they gonna appreciate the battle that we're actually in, right? They're not gonna get camera greet. I don't even know what do you call it? Like, it's not camera the opposite of camera shy, like where all of a sudden you had a little taste of, you know what I mean? Now you're addicted to being in front of the camera, or this person wants to say they this, but they ain't done shit. Like, look, I need people that are really ready because if they can't fight on the business level, I know they're not gonna bust no guns, right? Because the point is that it doesn't need to be a battle of bullets. What they're beating us on paper. Like we just said, a credit report becomes a file, a social profile, the algorithmic profile. But as soon as you drive past the traffic camera, everybody in that car or on that train and when I say everybody, it's also everybody they go home to, walk past, see, spoke with, talked to, interacted with, liked on Facebook, goes with it. Like, y'all can sit around and think about what that means. Oh, wait. By 2027, your car is supposed to have a mandatory AI camera, right? You see why I ain't in a hurry to get no new one? I never wanted a new car, like a new car. Y'all, it's not just about 15-minute walking communities. It's about, do you want an AI camera in your car? If you got an AI camera in your car, what's the point of having tinted windows? Unless it's really medical. I mean, this is why they want the 34 Wonderlic score top 2% in the nation to shut the fuck up. Because all of their feelings crumble because feelings don't make sense all the time. Now, I don't want to be the one that keeps hurting people's feelings. The reason I don't care is because I'm very upfront with everybody in the beginning. It's not about saying like Posh is not saying fuck the world. Posh is saying, look, I told you who I was in the very beginning. You signed up for this. And I'm not even talking about on no, crazy stuff. I'm just gonna keep it 100. And if you can't deal with that, you're talking about feelings. And this ain't just the people that you saw on my page the last couple months. Look around you. If you're watching this, you know what this is like. Okay? So the Constitution was written in a different time period, but it was trying to protect something that LexisNexis and traffic cameras are against. So I want y'all to tell me what y'all think about these questions in the comments, or just maybe you want to be incognito. Talk amongst yourselves, knowing that your cell phone and your Wi-Fi and your Alexa and your Siri and your Apple CarPlay is recording it anyway with your people, and just build a dialogue. And that way, when you go through the next traffic light, they'll measure the fact that a lot more of us than what they thought. Because if we live in a society where documents can become people, but people are increasingly treated like documents. If society, question number 2, number 1's really a statement, but we'll put a question mark on there just to make it. If society increasingly makes decisions based on representations of people, how do we prevent the representation from becoming more important than the person it represents? Now, we got a lot of DEI people that got some extra time on their hands. Send them this video, make sure they understand what the question is, and let's see if they can get us some answers. Pasha Paro.